At this point, she opens the door and my 110-pound Rottweiler proceeds to jump excitedly into the front seat from the back. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am your average Redditor, and today we're revisiting r/IDontWorkHereLady. Before we get into the video, subscribe with notifications on for daily Reddit content. Right, let's get into these crazy Reddit stories. Man mistakes dad for being an Uber. So, for a bit of backstory, each year my mum goes on a getaway with some of her old friends. This is usually to a nearby country, and they are there for about 3 or 4 nights. My dad usually picks her up. I'll jump into it now. My dad was waiting at the designated pickup point at the airport. He has a sensible black car. Don't know what make, I'm not really a car person. He was on his phone when he heard a knock at the window. He turned to look if it was mum, but instead it was a man. My dad rolls down the window. From what he told me, the conversation went something like this. Can I help you? Are you my ride? No. But you look like an Uber. I'm not, now F off. My dad rolls up the window, the man starts banging. If you don't unlock the door right now, I'm giving you 1 star. My dad just ignores him. My mum comes out of the airport and heads towards the car, seeing the man. She approaches him. Sir, are you okay? This man is my ride, but he claims he isn't. Are you sure? Yes. Then can I see your phone? Why? So I can double check. You might have missed something. Okay, but if you try to run with it, you won't get far. He gives her the phone. My mum takes it and presses cancel ride. She gives it back to him. Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong thing. At this point, I think the man realised what was going on. He gave my mum an angry stare and walked away. This guy is actually such an idiot. Uber or Lyft drivers want to pick up their passengers. It's how they get paid. If someone is not picking you up, it means that that's not your driver. Oh, here we go. This sounds a bit similar. More Uber mishaps. My partner is a chef and works late nights, so I usually pick him up around 10 PM. He works at a restaurant in a busy part of town, so often when I pull up in front to wait for him, there are sometimes drunk people waiting outside of other restaurants and bars, waiting for a cab or Uber. On this particular night, I pull up and turn the car off because my headlights would shine directly into one of the bars and I don't want to be rude. So I'm texting my partner, letting him know that I'm here, when I see a woman looking at me. I can tell she's a little tipsy and she's moving towards my car. I make eye contact with her and start shaking my head, no, but she continues to come to the door anyway. Because the car is off, I'm not able to roll down the window and tell her that I'm not her ride. I'm too bewildered to think to lock the door, so I'm just sitting there shaking my head like an idiot. At this point, she opens the door and my 110-pound Rottweiler proceeds to jump excitedly into the front seat from the back where she was lying down, expecting to see her dad. The woman tumbles backwards, obviously not expecting there to be a giant dog in her Uber. At this point, she looks at me and I just stumble out, yeah, sorry, I'm not an Uber. She quickly shut the door without saying anything and walked off. I felt a little bad for scaring her, but now I just find this really funny. Sorry, random lady. Next time, check on the app to make sure you're going to the right car. Think I work here and demand me to move 30 bags of concrete? Okay. Before starting this story, this will involve a bit of r/petty revenge and r/malicious compliance, alongside the promised r/IDontWorkHereLady. So I live in Australia, and we have a supply chain of hardware stores here called Bunnings Warehouse. Picture a hardware store for everyone, both tradesmen and your average Joe. I was a teenager at the time and I was dressed in work clothes. I was working for a carpenter at the time. Steel cap boots, work pants, the whole deal. The most important thing about this all is my work shirt. My company uses a black button-up shirt, short-sleeved and collared. Search FXD, yeah, you're not going to be interested in that. My company also had our logos plastered all over these things. For privacy reasons, I can't show the logos, but these are the base shirts. Now, the people who work at this hardware store, they wear red polo shirts with green writing, the logo for their company. Now, I was riding shotgun with my boss. He had gone into the store while I was in the timber yard, collecting some bags of concrete for the footings we were about to put in. I was moving some of the bags, one at a time, to my boss's work truck. These bags aren't overwhelmingly heavy, 20 kilograms, 40 pounds for the imperial readers, but I was only moving one at a time. The walk wasn't far, and this was at the start of the day. Last thing I wanted to do was injure myself before the real work has even started. I was on my 6th bag out of 13 when this man came up to me. He was your average DIYer. Certainly not a tradesman, just your average bloke. 50s, balding, and wanted to show off that they could successfully screw together a garden shed. He was just staring at the pile of concrete bags. For context, there are several different kinds of concrete for different purposes: rapid set, mortar, cement, etc. He then asked me what concrete he should use to put in some fence posts. I told him he'd be looking at the rapid set. It would suit his needs perfectly. Considering he needed to ask what kind of concrete, I imagined that he hadn't actually done any sort of work like this before, so I gave him the lowdown. Dig your hole, pour the bag directly into the hole, wet it with your hose, dome it off. Pretty simple. So he said thanks, no issues here. So I grab my next bag and begin to take it to the truck. Here is where the fun begins. What? Where are you going? he asks. Now, I'm quite confused at this point in time, and then I respond with, oh, I'm gonna go put these bags on the back of the truck. Is that a problem? He replies with, mate, my car isn't over there. I'm the white Camry over there. It's always the dudes in the white Camry at Bunnings. Any tradesman who goes to Bunnings knows exactly the guy I'm talking about. Anyways, I stand there trying to figure out what is going on. Well, he asks. I figure that he thinks I work there. Oh, sorry, mate, I don't work here. I'm getting concrete for my job and I'm on a tight schedule. Sorry, mate. Now, usually if I don't have to be somewhere, I would have given anyone a hand. Moving these bags sucks, but he doesn't seem to believe me. What? Look at you. Of course you work here. You got the right clothes and everything. I try to reply and he doesn't want to have a bar of it. He goes off and says, as he's walking away, you better have all 30 bags on my car before I get back to it. Step on it. Well, my dearest friend, be careful what you wish for. It doesn't matter that I was busy. This was the new priority. Cue the malicious compliance petty revenge part of my story. His exact words were, you better have all 30 bags on my car before I get back. His car had a box trailer. I knew exactly what he meant. But no sir, I tried to tell you otherwise, but you did not listen. I needed to move, so I started moving the bags, 2 at a time. I placed them all over his car, 12 on the bonnet, 6 on the trunk, and the rest perfectly layering the roof. I see him walk out, he sees his car, and this man's jaw hits the goddamn floor. He nearly had a heart attack. My car! What the F have you done to my car? I had a grin from ear to ear. I put all 30 bags on your car, just like you asked. I was giggling like a toddler. Now, after much screaming, I told him to can it and he could move it himself. I was late as it was and my boss was getting impatient. However, he watched us all and was laughing too. Sorry mate, I have to go to my actual job now, so you're gonna have to move these yourself. He was not happy, but hey, at least the bags were now significantly closer to his car. He sucked it up and began to move them. I was walking back to my car when I heard him yell. The thing about these bags of concrete is that if you don't support them underneath and just grab them from the sides, they tend to split down the middle, dumping all the contents of the bag in a messy pile directly underneath the bag. He had split a bag clean down the middle whilst trying to take it off the roof. This thing spilled its contents all over the roof and windshield of his car, and it was the funniest thing to happen yet. He got the job done eventually, but not before splitting 3 more bags. His car was covered in concrete dust. I left him there, car covered in concrete, whilst he admitted defeat. This one's on you, Camry guy. This one's on you. And that brings us to the end of this episode of r/IDontWorkHereLady. If you enjoyed, like, share and subscribe for more Reddit content from me.